Alex, how are you?
I'm good, thank you, Rune. How you doing?
Yeah, pretty good, pretty good.
Good.
Where about are you?
Just based down Sussex, so kind of near Gatwick Airport, actually, so quite close to the coast, and just at home. Nice, dreary, rainy day at the moment, so not out enjoying the snow like you have been recently.
I don't know, social media, I don't know. I can't really get the hang of it, so I'm trying different angles here.
Yeah. And I've seen you've been out doing some bit of this Viking boot camp at the moment.
Yeah. We just I just came back. I got my gym outside my house now, so my friend he just left, so we've been working out for an hour. And in minus 10.
Nice. Well, it's one thing, at least you got used to that, having the gym there. Whereabouts are you based at the moment? You still kind of south of Oslo, around there?
Yeah. Just 40 minutes south of Oslo towards Torp airport. There's two airports, Gardermoen and Torp. So this is more inland from Oslo towards, I don't know, Lillehammer.
Yeah.
No, actually, yeah. So yeah, it's close to Oslo. This is where I grew up. So we moved here 16 years ago. But yeah, it's pretty quiet and we can easily get to the airport. So that's been my thing for the last close to 10 years, So it's pretty good. We have a house here and quiet life, not like London or from your part of the world. It's more busy. Not in Sussex, but still.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, yeah, we're pretty quiet, but we look forward to when it all gets back to being a little busier there, and to travel as well.
Because that's what you do, right? You travel all the time. And
that's right. Yeah, I mean, in my spare time, I do this in my spare time. In my real, my main job is working in the travel industry, and I work for Nordic regions. So I've been doing this for maybe 11 years this year. So I've traveled kind of extensively over Scandinavia and Iceland, and even over to Greenland, which was awesome place. South Greenland blew my mind. But I in fact, actually quite a nice kind of lead there, because it was something I saw because you were up in Svalbard, I think it was a couple of years ago, and I see that there's a film that you're hopefully going to be out this year. It was renamed. This is Civil Twilight, I think. And
yeah.
Filmed in Svalbard. Is that right?
That's it. Yeah. So yeah, it must be. Was it not last? Is it? Time flies so fast, but I think it was two years ago. We were up there in Svalbard filming. So that was the film. The movie is ready to be launched. So hopefully, it was kind of a crazy project the guys did, because this was like LA-based crew, director, everything. So they basically came off the plane in their slippers, up to Svalbard in minus 20. And I don't know, have you been up there? You said you've been there, yeah?
Yeah, I've been up there. I was in there, gosh, it's about now 8 years ago. So I was out there in January when it was, super cold out there and dark.
But as you know, you can travel to the pyramids, Pyramiden, the former Russian mining society community, right? So they actually filmed there. And then the story started in Longyearbyen in Svalbard, and then took them over to Pyramiden, the pyramids. They call it, that's what they call it, the locals. There's no pyramids there, but pyramids. There's a big Lenin statue there, and it's like, I don't know if you've seen footage from that place, you should look it up. But it's like they basically left everything when they left. So, it's like still food on the table in a way. So it's really a spooky place. So they filmed up there. There was a couple of Scandinavian actors in it. We basically did what was going on in Longyearbyen. I think the movie turns out to be a great project, and the the scenery is amazing, and they have all this great footage. So hopefully they will get it out this year. I don't know which platform, but cinemas is not so. It's not a big option at the moment, so I think it's going to be one of the big streaming platforms. So that's quite exciting. But before that, of course, we were filming Fortitude up there in Svalbard.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where I kind of first discovered you in Fortitude, which funny enough ties quite nicely because it was supposed to be filmed in Svalbard, but it was being filmed in East Iceland at the time. But weirdly, in the third season, they actually then filmed in Svalbard eventually. So that was very cool. But tell me about your involvement in that. I mean, it was a wild show. I really loved it. It was just completely out there, and the scenery, East Iceland, was beautiful as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the writer, he's. The story is basically so far out in a way. Oh, maybe not so far out. I mean, the setup is perfect. It's a very close community, no way out, no way in, and then something else happens. So everything around it has a threat, something, and this is great drama setup, and it's in a place on top of the world. It's close to the North Pole as you could get with a settlement. So it's very interesting, and of course it a virus taking over and killing people and making people nuts. I don't know. You see now in what's happening in Holland, like they have demonstrated. People are demonstrating against all the restrictions, and then football fans, they take over as the, what do you call it, borgervern, sort of the, what do you call this when people go out and sort of defend from themselves?
Borgervern,
you say...
You've got me there. The word is, it's in the front of my mind.
It's like you go around the block to keep it safe from your kids, right? So you sort of take on that responsibility anyway. So this is... perfectly normal people, we say normal, and suddenly this threat from outside makes us go do things that we wouldn't do in a normal situation. And Fortitude is also all about that. And of course, the emphasis on with Fortitude is it's the environment, the nature getting back at us, because it's probably caused by the human species themselves. So funnily enough, you say that suddenly they were actually filming in Svalbard. So the last season was up there. Oh my God, I don't know why they did that, because the funny thing is, when they were filming actually in Iceland and it was supposed to be Svalbard, there was no snow there in Iceland. So they spent so much money getting snow in Iceland. Can you imagine? So funny, right? And of course, when they suddenly, I think it was also it's kind of, okay, we should have done it in Svalbard. Now let's try and actually do it in Svalbard. So they moved everyone up there, cast and crew and their equipment. They were delayed by 4 weeks, I think, because they had to bring it up by ship. Okay. And on the journey over, the whole deck was floated. So it was a big thing. I think we were delayed by, I don't know, 1 month or something. But anyway, in the end, we ended up in Svalbard, and you can say it was supposed to be a Norwegian setting. On the back of the police was Norwegian. It said politi on the back on their uniforms, and that's police in Norwegian. There was only one, or maybe there was only one Norwegian actor in it, and that was me. There was maybe one more in more like an extra, but that was quite funny.
It was quite an international cast actually on there. I mean, you had Dennis Quaid in there. I think was it season 2, season 3, and then yeah, I mean, it was an incredible cast on that. Some really nerds in there. That's a good fun.
Yeah, some great talent, and of course Dennis and the chief himself.
Yeah, Richard Dormer.
Richard Dormer.
Yeah,
Now he's an interesting character, as your listeners will know and your viewers remember him from the great sword scene in Game of Thrones when he's with the flaming swords and with a patch on his eye. A great guy, and why I say this is because also they were supposed to be Norwegians, right? So he wanted to learn to speak like I do now with a slight Scandinavian accent. So I remember he had one line in the third season was Ragnarok, and he wanted to do it. I think he's from Belfast, right? So it's pretty close to the Norwegians, because we went there in the old days to rape and pillage, as you know, at least in Dublin, but in Belfast. So he went Ragnarok, and I still remember he coming up to me, Rune, how do you say that again? Ragnarok. So funny. And he's a very intense guy, a lovely person. But yeah, he's done some iconic parts, and I think this was, yeah, he was the main lead guy. And to match him, you need someone like Sofia Grobøl, the great Danish actress, and of course you had Mia Jackson and some great talent there, and of course all the UK and Irish actors. And then Mr. Dennis came, the big movie star from America. He was interesting character as well. So yeah, it was. I enjoyed it. My part was Lars, the snowplow driver. I was actually cast, and I see I'm in a lot of episodes. But sometimes you just sign up, you want to do this, and the end is like, is this the part? There's no small parts, but still, it's like you could have done a lot with that character. But yeah, that's how it goes. But I had a great time up there and met some great friends from the Icelandic cast, Joey Johansson and Björn. So there was some great things, and I saw Iceland. You've been there, so
yeah. One of my favorite parts of Iceland, actually, I think East Iceland is it's not as seen as much as everywhere else. Everyone focuses so much on the south and around there. And I remember actually I'd seen the first season. I was almost finished the first season, and then I flew out to the east.
Oh, really?
It was the weirdest thing, because I genuinely felt I'd walked onto the set, because I'd packed in watching 6 or 7 episodes, and then suddenly I was standing outside the Blue Fox, which, funnily enough, you can only do is stand outside it. You can't, because inside is actually over in London in one of the studios in Hackney. So that was quite
exactly.
Yeah, but it was great. I think it was great to kind of see that part, and also see it kind of put on the map with the TV series and that. And in terms of like in travel, you've been to Svalbard, East Iceland. Where have been some of your kind of favorite Nordic regions that you've traveled to? I mean, was Svalbard up there as one of the best, or?
I mean, if anyone gets a chance to go to Svalbard, they should use that opportunity. It's so different. It's so exotic. It's so threatening and teasing at the same time, because just 6 months ago, there was this guy was attacked in the tent by a polar bear. You remember? He came up to visit his friends who runs the sort of the camping site up there, and he was actually sleeping outside in his tent.
Not recommended.
No. You can't walk anywhere there without a rifle. So in Svalbard, the threat is real, So and the nature, come on. I don't know, to go there when in the dark season, where there's no light at all. This is the strange thing, that up here in northern Norway and in the Nordic countries in the north, like Finland, and also in Sweden and Svalbard, you know, as we know, it's completely dark for 4 months at least, you know. And this is quite odd. This is, you know, you wake up, it's dark, you go home, it's dark. So this is this is something that is yeah, really interesting to experience. And of course, then having said that, to experience the midnight sun.
Yeah,
you know,
the opposite, which I find, I've experienced both now. I find the midnight sun too much. I can't get my head round, especially if you start drinking, because you suddenly go, oh, what's the time? Oh gosh, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. Or even that. But I find the midnight sun, it's incredible to see, but trying to sleep or anything like that is quite difficult, because you just, it's a very strange experience. Whereas the darkness, I don't know, I kind of adapted to it a bit more.
yeah,
It was strange to see aurora in the morning, for example. Like in Svalbard, you can have breakfast and see the northern lights, and you're like, whoa, hang on.
yeah.
Mhm.
No, and talking of, and then of course, if you've probably seen both versions of Insomnia, both the Norwegian version and the American version. Insomnia, the movie, and it deals with the, the midnight light. But I thought it was fantastic to experience that. We were up in Svalbard in, yeah, that was the first week of May. This is like a few years back. We did a stage play. It was based on a story based on a story of one of our great explorers, Fridtjof Nansen. Fridtjof Nansen, he had a idea that he would actually travel to the North Pole. So he had this. We have Nansen and Amundsen, of course, our great,
Yeah.
and you have Scott. So he had this idea that he would go with from Russia with the streams in the water with a boat specially built. There's a boat builder very famous in Norway, has international boats named after him, Colin Archer. So he would make the boat in a form that when the ice comes, it will float up, and he can be on the top of the ice instead of being stuck and crushed in the ice. So Nansen had this idea that he will have this ship, and it will drift with the under waves in the sea from Russia and close to the North Pole. Yeah, so this was the idea, to get as close as possible to the North Pole. And he brought his crew. They were up there for a long time. Johansen, he had a guy, a Norwegian guy, who would travel with them, very strong. He was actually both with Amundsen and Nansen on this big exhibitions. But anyway, our story started where they were stranded up there, because the boat got stuck in the ice, and then the great explorer, he was 22 at the time, Nansen, said, hey, of course, we brought the dogs from Russia. We will go with our dogs in the dog sleds on skis to try and get to the North Pole. And this is in 1890 or something. It's before the 1900s, right? So come on, guys. And they'd never been with dog sleds before. So these two guys went. A long story short, they ended up have to stay over the winter for 6 months in a small, just digging out a hole in the ground to survive. So we made a, a story around this, how two people can survive together in extreme circumstances. So when the stage show was up, we wanted to play it close to where it actually happened, where our inspiration was. So this was in Svalbard. So when we went up there to actually perform this two actors, Sven Nordin, as you probably know, the Norwegian star. So we did this together, two men trying to survive for 6 months, and this was before the GPS and everything. So that was quite interesting. So that was the first time I went to Svalbard, and to play it up there in these extreme circumstances. I remember walking to the theater from our hotel. I met this Japanese tourist. I said, take care, big bear out now. You have to take care. I was like, what? I was just on my way to stage to do the acting, you know. And this person said, there's a polar bear in the area. And I was like, what? I was doing my me, mama. And I went, rah, polar bear. I was like, well, it was completely absurd.
Yeah.
So so that was Svalbard, but yeah, and also in Norway, up in Lapland, you have Kautokeino, Karasjok. I've been traveling a lot there with different theater companies, and this is also something completely different.
Yeah. I think it's amazing the terrain and how much it changes in Norway. And how desolate, certainly, you know, from northern Norway, it's incredible up there. We just finished watching a series called Monster, which was filmed up there. It's just finally been released in the UK. I know it's been around for almost 3 or 4 years now, I think. But yeah, that was fascinating. I think it was up in Finnmark.
Yeah, it's in Finnmark actually.
Yeah. And I mean, other shows you've got. I mean, there's you've got Rig 45 that's about at the moment. Again, that's quite interesting because it's a bit of an international kind of cast as well going on there. And also coming up, I wanted to ask if I can get anything from you about a boy called Christmas, which is it out? It's going to be out this Christmas, but the kind of preview was released this Christmas. But I think obviously cinema was.
Yeah, talking of Lapland, Gil Keenan, the brilliant British American director, I think he's born in UK, but then he moved to LA. He traveled up to Lapland, so it's a lot of the as you can see from the trailer. Also, you can see the inspiration is a lot with the scenery, right? And of course, you know the original story from the British writer, right?
Yeah, it's Matt Haig, isn't it?
Matt Haig, yeah. So it's his story. So there's probably everything. It comes from his original story to set it in Lapland, to have that kind of inspiration, of course. So yeah, it's a very interesting story, and it will come out this Christmas. It should have been out this year, but for different reasons, they have pushed it. So, and this is why they presented it already. I don't know. It's a good idea, I suppose, to get the hype going, and they present it with the fantastic cast they have, of course. Christine Wiig and Jim Broadbent and
it's a cool cast.
Maggie Smith, and some great actors there. So that's all good, and I think it's kind of, sometimes you have this feeling that this can really be an exceptional experience, and I think this is this kind of movie, and of course it comes from the animation studios in UK. You did Paddington, so it's like when you say Marvel, it's like, do you have the same kind of references that people go, wow, DreamWorks, I think it's something there. So, and Gil Keenan is a fantastic director and a very creative artist. He did a movie few years back called Monster House,
also animation. I think he was at least nominated for Oscar for. So that was so he was really interesting to work with him, and of course shooting it in Prague in the iconic studios of Barrando Studios.
Okay.
So this was also very interesting. Very talking with traveling, fantastic city to experience. So no, I have great hope for that story, and it's a very touching, very engaging story, original story. Oh, how Santa Claus came about, so it's really, and the good thing is that this is something that the whole family can watch it together. It's not like kids, mom and dad is going to watch a series, a movie. So I have high hopes for that project. It was amazing to be on the set because they build everything from scratch, and they, the kind of experience and the knowledge of these people making this, the props and everything there in Prague was amazing. It was just amazing. You walk on set and it's like, wow, you're in the middle of Lapland.
And I mean, talking about sets and places that you travel to, of course we have to, and I spotted the badge there, which is fantastic, but you're involved in Captain Marvel, which is a huge thing, because I think you're the first Norwegian in the Marvel universe. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Yes.
Join the likes of Scandinavians as Mads Mikkelsen and Stellan Skarsgård, which is a nice kind of couple of people to be paired up with in the Marvel universe there. And we talked about how you filmed in East Iceland, in Svalbard, and then I assume this is all filmed over in LA. Were you over in Hollywood?
Yep. LA. Yeah.
And what was that like, and how did it differ in terms of the kind of sets like you experienced, say, for part Boy Called Christmas?
Yeah, it's like walking into the studios of Sony in LA and Barrando in Prague. It's just filled with history. It's like if you start thinking about all the project that's been filmed in this on this sound stages, because that's what they call it. It's amazing, and you just walk on and you think, okay, I'll just put my arms out and fill me with inspiration and just take it all in, and it gives you so much, and it sort of being with these kind of people, being in this environment, it just gives you so much so much support. It's like, because everything here, there's a history, it's been done before, great project, these people know what they're doing, they work in this environment, so they are gold. So this is I'm very grateful that I've been able to book jobs like this, and that you are welcomed with so much enthusiasm and a knowledge of what you bring, because obviously they cast me because I bring what I bring in front of the camera, and it's typecasting, of course, as always in front of the camera. We can pray and hope that it will change, but at least in front of the camera is a lot about the typecasting. But of course, being in a studio is different, and filming outside in Svalbard in -20. Come on.
Yeah.
So this is the difference between a studio and being outside in Iceland, or we were filming up in Simi Valley, just outside LA. Fantastic, Poltergeist. You have some legendary movies and TV series being filmed up there. And it's outside, and it's you're running around in your Marvel tight suit. It looks fantastic, but you can't move around in it, and you sweat like hell, and it's outside. So all this is different from being in a studio, of course.
Yeah.
So this is Svalbard, LA, filming outside. It's just so different. I mean, being outside in Svalbard, I still think of the crew, the UK crew on Fortitude. Oh my God, they were filming 8-10 hours outside in snow, in -20.
Yeah,
You know.
it's hard work.
Oh, that's respect.
Yeah.
I'm just in my warm little cabin, and I'm just called a couple of times during the day, and I just come in and do my hey, but they're actually out there all the time. So filming in LA was a dream come true. I was there 16 years prior to that, living in a dodgy hotel down in Marina del Rey, close to the beach. In the end, just on my bike, because all my money was gone, because I was trying to hit it big in LA. Yeah, was probably very naive. I thought I was the only tall, big, strong, good actor from Scandinavia there. I probably was. There was another 10 of us, but then you had all the Americans and all the other guys coming in, and you walked into the audition room and looking around. Oh my God, there's so much talent here, and they're probably much better than I am. So it's sort of. But that was my first Marvel at Sony Studios. In the morning when I was picked up in my apartment, I passed the dodgy hotel which I stayed in 6 years earlier, trying to hit it big in LA. So it was a long journey. It took 16 years to get into a Hollywood movie, at least filming in the base of the center of the universe if you are in the industry of movie making in LA. So that was quite a journey. Of course, we did Eddie the Eagle before that, and that's it's also it's not a Marvel movie, but it's a Marv movie. So that's quite interesting, and that's, of course, they work Marv with the 20th Century Fox. So in a way, it was another Hollywood project. And I don't know if you know this, but Downsizing, that's also a project which I was involved in. And you can still see my name in critics from the Venice Film Festival, because I was still in it at that time. So I was cut out of that movie. It's quite interesting project. It was a fantastic project. When I read the script, I was like, wow. So it's been quite a journey, because you're in these big movies and you can actually be in it, but in the end you're not in it. I don't think it's on it's not on my credit list on IMDb, but I still I worked on Downsizing with Alexander Payne. I met him several times. A fantastic director, as you know, and done some iconic movies, right? And talking Nordic, he brought them filming up in Norway with Matt Damon. So that was amazing project. But this is how it is. This is the game. I mean, you're cast, you're in the movie, and in the end of the day, they decided not to have, because Alexander Payne, you've seen his movies, a couple of them, Mr. Smith with Jack Nicholson. There's a voiceover, right? He uses voiceover a lot. So in you've seen Downsizing, right?
I think I have. Matt Damon. He's
been downsized.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Let's ring a bell. I'm sure I have. Probably need to refresh my memory with it. But it
was a huge movie, and of course it was Alexander Payne who was moving up with the big companies. This was Paramount, right? Big movie stars. He did more independent project, but he, you know, Alexander Payne, he won Oscar at least once. So this project was, they were supposed to have a voiceover on top of everything. And in the last minute, they decided against it. I did so much work because it was a made up language. So it was a combination of Nordic, Celtic. It was a mix, and this should tell the story on another level. But in the end of the day, they decided against it. And this is also the industry. This is also the life of an actor or a director or a film worker on that level, that you actually can rent out your house, like Harald Svart, you know, the Norwegian director. They rented out their house, went to Canada to start second seasons of a season of or the sequel of a movie they did, and ready to go. After 3 weeks, the money is gone, so it's pulled out. So they can't. They just have to go back. So this is also the life, or this is name of the game. Why I'm saying this is that when I did Marvel, it wasn't my first Hollywood project. But still coming to LA and actually shoot there was fantastic. I'm just going to give you 2 seconds of this made up language.
Yeah, please do.
Okay, greit. Jeg vil telle saker. Men after that, y'all must go to bed. Zwa lenge tamlagan. Värld was totally forskjellig. Gians var kalan. Det var så mange gians du kunne dem alle, even if they counted all your life. These giants had enormous brain. They could speak different language. Yeah, you know, nej dosh, nej rumpa pump. This was the language.
Wow.
And I learned it by heart. And it was, I think it took me 30 minutes to run the whole text like this. And as you know, learning something that is totally Greek to you, you don't know what it means. So they had some amazing people making this language. So it's a big job. But unfortunately, they pulled it in the last second, and I don't know. I think they would have been better off going in that direction with the movie, because that sort of, it leaves something when you see the movie downsizing. It has a long journey, and it has an intention in the original script that everything goes in circle. The whole humanity, we are here, and it goes in circle. So we're gonna end, we're gonna survive, but then it's gonna be the end of us. But then it's coming back. They're gonna have another pandemic. It's gonna go like this. And this was really interesting. In the timing was perfect. Everything was perfect. So, but you know, decisions have to be made, and then Mr. Temte was on the on the floor of in the editing room. You know, he was like, oh, I just have to tell you, when I came over to see Alexander Payne, we were in the editing room, and he said, Alexander said, so he turned to his editor and he said, so Bill, could you pull up the scene with Rune and Matt that we had to cut out because of they didn't want the voiceover? Could you just pull that up? And I was there actually in LA in the editing room, and I saw the scene. I heard my voice, and I was like, what? Okay, they pay the cash, everything was fun, but still, you want to be there. You want to be at the premiere. You want to have it on your resume, but now for the whole world knows now. So, and if you look at, if you search on the internet, you can still find me in the cast list. So that was quite interesting. But this is the name of the game.
I mean, one film that you certainly won't cut from, but very prominent character in is Eddie the Eagle, which you mentioned earlier. A movie absolutely love this film. It's such a great kind of feel-good movie from there. And it was interesting because I was reading, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the Norwegians were big fans of Eddie the Eagle. Is that right? What was the kind of story behind their kind of love for this guy?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. That the story as it involves or involves in the movie that the Norwegians are the bad guys is not. It's not.
That's so true.
It's not a truth, but this is for dramatic reasons. I think you have to have someone. Yeah, you have to have villains, kind villains. I think we're kind.
Yeah, it's a good
kind.
Way.
Yeah. But as you know, been following this discussion around Atlantic crossing now, that you will probably see in the UK, the big, enormous Norwegian Scandinavian drama series about Eleanor Roosevelt and our royal family. It's also a discussion: what is fiction, what is inspired by, you know, and you can't really change the history about who made Churchill make that decision. Was it Churchill or was it someone else? You can't change that, you know.
Yeah.
Hitler, he wasn't Hitler after all, or it wasn't Churchill, or it wasn't. You can't change that, but do a small dramatic twist with the story of Eddie Edwards and the Norwegians being, because we were the world leaders in ski jumping at that time, and I think the love for a character like a real life character, of course, like Eddie Edwards, who had that amazing stamina and just, you know, to just do what he did. Norwegians, you see us and you think we are rough, and we come from, our DNA is the Vikings, and we have swords and we rape and pillage. But you know, when you get to know us, we are very friendly and open, not as open as the Danes, but still we are, you know, when you get to know us and you sort of get behind the mask of protecting ourselves, maybe, for, you know, don't touch us, don't ask anything personal, but it takes to warm us up. We are really friendly, and I think this is the same thing with Eddie the Eagle. In that time, we were really taking care of an underdog and supporting him. That's the story I heard anyway, and I think that is more real with what happened. But of course, what Dexter Fletcher and Matthew Vaughn and the other guys at Marv did with that story it's fantastic. It's just such a lovely movie, and for me it's so good to show that it's not about winning, it's about trying and doing your best and being passionate about something from whatever background you're from. And if we can teach that to our kids, it's just amazing, you know. And of course, the parents will tell the stories about, yeah, I remember when Eddie was jumping himself, but it doesn't really matter if you know the story or not. So that means, you know, you have some bad guys that can be the Norwegians, and for the people who knows the story, they knows the story. That's how it is. And of course, working with Hugh Jackman also and Taron Egerton, you're talking big time movie stars here. And to top it off, there was Christopher Walken as well. So come on, guys.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's really amazing to see so much talent just on a project. So, yeah, you can say, I think Eddie the Eagle has done really well now. I think it's on Disney Plus. I think, and it's picking up. A lot of people see it now. I think they expected more when they first released it, but worldwide it was doing really well, and it's still playing. So yeah, it's yeah, it was of course a great experience to do it. And we were filming on locations, and also at Pinewood.
There's a story about the scene where you punch Hugh Jackman in the face, and I don't know if I've read this right, because it could be just kind of trivia that I've read, but you were told not to connect with his nose. Is that right? Because he costs so much money. Is this true, or is this
yeah, you know, after all, why I went into acting is because I want to be a storyteller, and of course, as you know, being a storyteller, you have to make it interesting for people. So it's probably coming from me, this story. But the truth of the story is that the stunt coordinator and other people on the set actually came up to me to remind me that it would cost a lot of money. Maybe they didn't say money, but they just, you know, make sure. And you can imagine already the pressure on me, hitting your mark, getting it right. Here's the camera. You know, this is Mr. Wolverine in front of you. You know, one thing is, if I hit him, he's probably going to hit back, and this is not. It's not going to be nice. This, because this is Wolverine. You know, so because the funny thing for me in that story is that it's not like taking pressure away from you. It's just adding more pressure, you know, because if it's one thing we don't need in front of a camera is tense actors, you know, because it's actually about relaxation. It's about being relaxed. Even though you're in a really high energy scene, it's all about being relaxed. And of course, Dexter, being the lovely man he is, Dexter Fletcher, of course, after Eddie the Eagle, he's now a world superstar director after all the successes he's done. And he's still the same, I'm sure of it, and he's really, you know, he's one of the lads, you know. All right, mate. All right, Rune. Listen now, mate. All right. Just make sure, mate. Just make sure you don't hit Hugh's nose, right? He's costing us a lot of money, mate. All right, and just do your best and be fucking brilliant, right? So, you know, I was just so friendly, you know. It's just like, Rune, all right, mate. I seen your tape, right? I know that you know Jason, right? Jason is my mate. He told me you fucking brilliant. So, Rune, I'm just going to say this, right? Don't you fuck it up, all right? Because I worked with Jason Fleming, his friend in The Last Kingdom, right? Okay. And they go back to Lock, Stock and Two Barrels that kicked off Matthew Vaughan's career. That was the first project from Marv, and of course Mr. The director,
Guy Ritchie.
Excuse me. So Lock, Stock and Two Barrels, Dexter and Dexter Fletcher and Jason Fleming go away, a long way back, and also Matthew Vaughn and Dexter. So, you know, they came together in Eddie the Eagle. So anyway, so yeah, Dexter, he was quite clear that I should not. Is the sun coming in here? Does it?
I can just see it, but I guess it's quite a beautiful thing, because I think it's just when it's starting to come back for you guys over.
Yeah, but should I move the camera?
Yeah, no, it's it's fine. It's just in the right spot there. I wish I could.
Anyway,
nice. We haven't got any here. It's just miserable.
So Eddie the Eagle was really funny, and Hugh Jackman was just a lovely partner on set, and bringing all the experience, and of course also Taron Egerton, who also after Eddie has moved into being a major movie star. So it's all pretty exciting to work with people that like that. But it's like I often say this, that when you are with people like this, with this integrity, experience, and generosity also, because of course there are big movie stars and there's big egos, and that is not generous. But I've been lucky enough to meet people who's very generous, and then you can sort of lean into that. It gives you support. So in our line of business, the hardest job is to actually get the job, to book the job. Because when you're in a project like this, with this talent, with these talented people, you know, they will give you so much support that you will actually, on a good day, deliver. No, but you know, the hardest thing is to actually book the job. Because when you're in that, it's hard to go wrong. No, you can go wrong, but you know, you even have people in the editing room, and we will work around this, Rune. We will make you look great. So no, but I'm not saying this is not everyone can do that job. Being in front of the camera in a Marvel movie, your first shot. You've been called for your first shot, you walk onto the set, you know it's Marvel, you know Sam is in it, you know Bree is in it, you know Jude is in it, you know all this, and you walk onto the set, you pass 350 people, and there's millions of dollars everywhere, and they set up for the first shot. It's a single, you're in front of the camera, and then behind the camera, 3 Oscar-nominated actors just stand there looking at you and to see what you can deliver. This big, huge man from Norway, now he's blue, but he's in front of the camera, and this, why did they bring this guy on? So they're just standing there looking at you, friendly, open, but still, this is the first chance you have to see, are you, can you actually be on our level? Can you actually, why are you here? Some people tell us about Eddie the Eagle, someone has seen you in The Last Kingdom, but why are you here? And then the director go, action, bang, and you have to deliver. You have to deliver. So not everyone can do that. So yeah, I'm taking back that the hardest thing is to get the job. It's actually to do of course, hit your mark and make sure the mustache is in the right position. Other people take care of this, but it's of course more complicated than that. But I find a lot of time in our industry at the level I am still, I'm not a movie star, I'm a working actor, and you have actors. And you have working actors and you have movie stars. So there's different levels, but still we have to deliver every time in the casting room to be cast. This is a huge job because there's so many great talented people out there. It's the biggest job, but still you have to be able to deliver and to actually do that job out there. And with the kind of pressure, I mean, the kind of pressure that's on your shoulders when you're actually out there in front of the camera with huge productions like that, there is no, yeah, it's a huge thing. So this is of course yeah, it is the biggest part of the job, obviously.
Yeah. And in terms, I mean, of, you know, with everything going on at the moment, which hasn't probably not made things much easier. I mean, do you have anything in the pipeline coming up, or is it a case of we were speaking to Soren Marling from and we were just kind of, he was so busy, we kind of had emailed him and said, you know, what have you got coming next? And you've got the new season of Borgen, which is great, but then he said everything else is, you know, the same. It's because of COVID. You know, there's nothing else going on at the moment, which is tough, you know, for a lot of people. But is there anything out there on the horizon for you next?
Nothing I can. Everything is confidential.
Okay.
As we say when we have nothing going on. No, but no. But I've been. You know, yeah. Oh my God, this is so funny. But no, I just did a big job now, and it will be announced. So it's coming out. So that was great. But of course, everything was turned upside down for most of us. When you are doing auditions now, or it's better now, but maybe just a couple of months ago, you know that 95% of the actors in the world are not working. I think this is basically, that was the reality of it. So, you know, it didn't hit me that hard, even though it was Viking parts. If I didn't book it, you know, it wasn't like, oh shit, you know, because, you know, I think last year, apart from a couple of movie stars, you could get anyone and everyone. Because, but then of course a lot of stars and actors didn't want to travel, so this was an opportunity for those who, if they were in the country, they would only cast within their borders. You know, there's made opportunities if there was projects actually happening in the country. You know, we filmed a lot in Hungary, and in the end of the day, there was a big project last year in October, and we couldn't travel, so we couldn't go. And the stars they had from America that was going to bring the cash in, because this is how they finance movies, of course. It's star driven, as they say. So the two leads, they didn't want to travel from America, so then the whole project went down. So if the saying in the industry was true before, it's even more true now, that the only thing that is certain in this industry is that nothing is certain.
Yeah.
So, you know, having said that, I woke up 1st of January sober, as I always do on 1st of January. I like to have a fresh start. What happens after that, we'll see. But I was really in a good mood. I was ready to go. Everything was good. So I'm really optimistic in terms of work. I'm of course reflecting and on everything's going on, and we all have our own ways of keeping ourselves in shape and up and running, and it's a big job of motivating ourselves and our close surroundings, because it's a big job in a world like this these days, you know, especially when we are in industries like you are and I am, and that's has been hit hard. And it is of course difficult to feel this energy and feeling positive when you know that so many good colleagues and good friends around the world has been hurt so much and are still hurting, even though we are and doing okay, you know. So this is the difficult part, and when you start to take in all this it's yeah, it can get to you. But as always, we have to take care of the close circle, and then when we have the opportunity, we have to go out and try and do something for the better of the world, and that's all I have to do. And I don't know. As you mentioned earlier, the project I have been in and I was in before the shit hit the fan, it's easy to think, oh my God, what a terrible timing, you know, because it was only going one way. But the good thing is that people are actually watching us. They are watching my project. People are in front of a screen, and this is the good thing. So when it all, you know, a little bit back to normal, there are so many opportunities out there, because so and everything is coming back to a more normal situation, and everyone needs content. You know, so this is a good thing.
Yeah, that's a good positive way to kind of round it up on there. I could talk forever with you, but I'm gonna probably call it there.
Yeah, good.
I look forward to actually seeing you in person, and then even doing your Viking boot camp next week. Sign me up for that.